fourth day. Winds have picked up. Fortunately, got the Aries into service today. That's the windvane contraption you see off the stern. And it's taking care of steering the boat, which is good because I can't do it 24 hours a day. And the wind's getting a little bit too strong for the electronic tiller pilot, and the seas are getting a little bit too big. I'm about 250 miles off the coast of Northern California right now, approaching the latitude of Cape Mendocino, which is notorious for its rough weather. And I'm in for a couple of days of pretty strong winds. I'll go days without seeing another ship. And then, sometimes like today, two of them will pop up right next to each other. And pop up they do. I didn't see this one visually till it was about 5 miles away. And it was going 20 knots, over 20 knots. Would have been on me in 15 minutes and at close to a collision course. But fortunately, I'd seen it on my AIS display an hour earlier. I knew it was coming. Hopefully it saw me on its AIS and would have changed course if I hadn't. But might makes right. It probably counted on me being the one to change course. Pretty well close hauled now, and Aries is steering like a champ and only 8 knots apparent. But I can't get him to handle anything downwind of a beam reach. Keep working on it. July 13th. A good 20 knots. Boat's doing 5.5, 6 on a broad reach. Aries windvane is steering marvelously. The sun's charging up the batteries through the solar panels. All is wonderful. There is a dismaying sight. A thoroughly busted servo pendulum. Steering gear dangling in the wind. I don't think I can repair it on board. That means no more mechanical self-steering. That means all I have is my electronic tiller pilot, which can't handle rough seas. So I hove to last night, got my first decent sleep of the trip. I'm going to sail today and hopefully by tonight seas will have subsided enough for the electronic tiller pilot to take over. Otherwise, I'll heave to again for another night. July 20th, 15 days at sea. It looks like the fabled easterly trade winds have finally arrived. I've been waiting for them. As of noon today, I was 890 nautical miles from Hawaii, and I'm heading straight for it in a generally southwest direction, 221 degrees. My progress has been slowed down by the breakdown of my mechanical windvane self-steering unit 3 days ago. I do have an electronic autopilot as a backup, but it can't handle the big seas and strong winds. And for the last 3 nights, there were nasty breaking seas that I didn't want to trust the autopilot to. So for those 3 nights I've hove to and just sat there with a double reef main and staysail, getting a good sleep for the first time on the trip. But tonight it looks like I'll be able to use the autopilot. The seas have abated. How quickly things can change. It's till July 20th, but now the beautiful sunny skies have disappeared, and the electronic autopilot appears to have given up the ghost, leaving me with no self-steering options. That means this last 890 miles to Hawaii is going to take a bit longer than planned, because I'll have to heave to whenever I'm sleeping. Night is falling in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's pretty damn incredible. Well, I woke up this morning with an idea. What about lashing together the pivot arm and I think it's the trunnion gear assembly, where a thick stainless steel bolt that previously held them together had sheared off. At first I thought it was crazy, but necessity is the mother of invention, and desperate times call for desperate measures and all that. And so I've lashed together the 2 components that were formerly bolted together. And I'm thinking, just thinking, it might work. We'll soon find out. Well, it didn't work right off the bat. Needed another round of lashing around the middle to draw the original lashings tighter. And then I had to switch to the smaller vane because the old one was too heavy and flop over to the side now that the joint is looser than it used to be. That joint was always the problem with the wind vane. was too tight. And now, steering for half an hour at about 5 knots in 12, 14 knots of wind on a broad reach. It's looking good. July 24th, third and hopefully final time of adjusting Aries in the lashing system. I think I've finally got the gears aligned right now. Can't adjust through much of a range with the lashing, but I've got it set up for basically a broad reach on a port tack, which is the most favorable setting I could have for getting to helo. Ooh-wee. Breeze has really picked up for the last evening of my passage. I'm roaring along at 6.5, 7 knots on a deep broad reach. Well, noon on July 29th. Somewhere 30 miles ahead is Hawaii. Thought I'd be able to see it by now, but it's socked in behind those clouds. At least it should be there if my sextant work has been done correctly. That's a joke. I did bring my sextant. I do know how to use it, but I've got to confess it's never made it out of its box for the journey. I've relied on the marvel of GPS. In preparation for my arrival, I've got a American courtesy flag flying, as well as the yellow quarantine flag that has to stay up until I've cleared customs, which unfortunately won't be until tomorrow morning. I'd hoped to get there before they close today, but winds have lightened up and that's not going to happen. One more night with cold beer and hot showers, tantalizingly close.